There is a supernatural soul in the universe. 40 evidence proving the existence of the greatest creator. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Long and Ailian. Open the windows. The sunlight and fresh air will come in. Take a broad view. You will see the faraway mountains fresh and green. Stay and study in life genuine. A new life will begin. Your spirituality will grow, and your thinking will transcend the limitations of human nature and ethics. Once we calm our minds, we can feel that there is a supernatural power in control of the movement of the universe, the birth and death of all things, and the track of human life. No one can deny fate, yet no one can grasp their own fate. Everything around us seems to be prearranged by certain powers, and we are only moving according to the life courses assigned to us. So, does such a supernatural power exist? Is there a super wisdom in control of the entire universe? If there is not, then how did the universe come into being? Where did the variety of life forms on the earth come from? If there is, where could the supernatural power be? What is its form? Does it resemble a man? What characteristics does it have? Why can't we see it? Does it care for humankind? How does it manage this astronomical universe? How can we get to know it? one有序运行的太阳系需要有人设计安排. The orderly operation of the solar system needs someone's design. Xiefeng. The solar system, with the sun at its center, consists of the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, comets, the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, meteoroids, interstellar matter, the Earth's satellite moon, and other asteroids. Other celestial bodies revolve around the Sun, attracted by the Sun's gravitation. Among them, the 9 planets revolve in the same direction around the Sun along nearly round orbits in approximately the same plane. For billions of years, the solar system has been running in the Milky Way galaxy in an orderly manner, without any mistakes. The 9 planets, the Earth's satellite moon, and other asteroids have unfailingly maintained the order of the solar system, cooperating tacitly with each other, obedient and conforming. There has never been any bullying. There is a high degree of organization, discipline, and unity. If any planet does not obey the command and acts on its own, the whole solar system will immediately be knocked over by other stellar systems in the galaxy. The main task of the whole solar system is to sustain life on Earth. If this order is disturbed, humans will also perish. To live harmoniously, even a big family of about a dozen people needs some domestic disciplines to keep it in line. A company, no matter how small, must have rules and regulations to survive and develop. A house should have a design before builders can begin work. How the doors, windows, kitchen, living room, bedrooms, and bathroom should be arranged. To survive, even a pack of wolves, a swarm of bees, a cohort of ants, or a flock of sheep must have a leader in charge. Otherwise, the result will be a state of disunity and chaos. Let's take a look at the general manager's office. The desk, chairs, bookshelf, sofas, tea table, telephone, and other objects are all arranged in an orderly manner. The tea table will not be placed on the desk, and the chairs will not be put on the sofas. Why? Because they have already been designed and arranged. Let's have a look at the workshops of a factory. The lathes, milling machines, planers, drill presses, workbenches, grinders, and tool cabinets are arranged in an orderly manner. They are not randomly placed or cluttered together. Why is that? It's because someone is organizing and arranging them. Let's take a look at the assembly workshop of TV sets. There is a strict order for the assembly of different components. Is this order formed naturally? Of course not. Someone is doing the design and arrangement. Let's take a look at everything in nature and every activity in human society. It is not difficult to discover that all have been organized and arranged by someone or some certain brain. Then, how about the orderly functioning of the solar system? Is it not designed by someone? By logical reasoning, we can infer that there must be someone in charge of the creation and arrangement of the solar system. But who is this someone? He must be the designer and organizer of the universe and the wise omniscience, the greatest creator. 凸地球至太阳的距离是刻意安排的. The distance from the Earth to the Sun is the result of deliberate arrangement. The distance from the Earth to the Sun is 147 million kilometers, which is the ideal distance for the Earth to absorb solar energy. If it were too far, the Earth would be a cold and bleak place. If it were too close, the Earth would become a flaming globe. You may have experienced warming yourself by a fire on cold winter days. Your distance from the fire is determined by its size. If you are too close to the fire, the heat will be unbearable, but if you are too far, you cannot absorb the heat. You will automatically adjust yourself to an appropriate distance that is not too warm to bear. Now, let's do a calculation. Imagine yourself as the Earth and the fire as the Sun. What will be the proportion? Let's suppose the proportion is X. Then the proportion from the Sun to the Earth is also X. That is to say, the distance between the Sun and the Earth is not a matter of coincidence but a deliberate arrangement. Except for the greatest creator, who else could have done that?
3. 地球的自转是有意安排的，自转的速度是经过精确的计算确定的。
The rotation of the Earth is a planned arrangement, and the velocity of the rotation has been accurately calculated. If we keep facing the fire, we feel comfortable on the front of our body but still cold on our back. At this time, we will unconsciously turn around and let our back face the fire. After some time, we will turn around again. In such a case, wouldn't it be ideal for us to sit in an automatically rotating chair so that our entire body can evenly receive warmth? However, the rotation should not be too fast. Otherwise, we will feel dizzy and cannot see the objects around us clearly. More dangerously, we might be thrown off the chair. Too slow a rotation won't do either. One side of the body is warm enough, but the other side is in urgent need of heat, and yet the chair has not turned around. We can certainly find an optimum rotation speed that can make us feel comfortable and evenly warmed. The Earth is rotating at an ideal speed. It rotates at nearly 28 kilometers per minute and completes one rotation in 24 hours. This speed ensures that both the eastern and western hemispheres can receive heat evenly, and that animals, plants, and humans can have time for labor and rest respectively. If the Earth did not rotate, the eastern hemisphere would be forever facing the sun, making it unbearably hot, while the western hemisphere would be in eternal darkness, unbearably cold. Vice versa. If the rotation speed of the Earth were too fast, for example, if it rotated once every 12 hours, then there would only be 3 hours for each morning, noon, afternoon, and night. We would not have enough time to sleep, and the sun would rise very early in the morning. When we woke up, it would still be dark outside. Then should we get up or continue sleeping? If the rotation speed were too slow, for example, one rotation every 36 hours, there would be 18 hours of daylight and 18 hours of darkness. How should we humans plan our daily routines? Not to mention the excessive or insufficient time for plant photosynthesis and the abnormal climate it would cause. The rotation of the Earth and the speed of rotation are intentionally and meticulously designed by the greatest creator. If you are not convinced, just try it yourself and see whether you can come up with a better arrangement.
4. 地球环绕太阳运行及运行的速度是严格按照物质运动规律设置的。
The Earth orbits the Sun, and its running speed is in strict accordance with the laws of physical movement. The Earth orbits the Sun at a speed of 29.8 kilometers per second, which does not allow for the slightest error. If the speed exceeds 29.8 kilometers per second, the Earth will fly off its orbit along the tangent and enter the vast universe. Life on Earth will go extinct due to a lack of appropriate light and heat from the Sun. If the speed is slower than 29.8 kilometers per second, the Earth will fail to reach escape velocity and be drawn to the Sun, falling towards it just like an apple falls to the ground. Isn't that terrible? It is well known that Earth's satellites should orbit at a speed of 7.9 kilometers per second. If the speed is faster, they will not be able to fly around the Earth along a certain orbit. If the speed is slower, the satellites will fall down to the Earth. The speed must reach 111.8 kilometers per second to escape the constraint force of the Earth. The speed must reach 166.7 kilometers per second to escape from the solar system. These are absolute numerical values that allow for no exception or negotiation. Now, think it over. Why should the Earth revolve around the Sun at exactly 29.8 kilometers per second? Why not any other numerical value? Without the calculation and arrangement of a superwise being, Is it possible for the Earth to run for 4.6 billion years, obediently, meticulously, and voluntarily? 5. The tilting of the Earth is deliberately set up. 5. 地球的倾斜是特意的设置. As for the Earth's orbit, it is tilted at a gradient of 23.5 degrees. You can use a globe as a sample. Without the tilting, there would be no alternating seasons on Earth. The equator would be unbearably hot, the temperate zone would be turned into the frigid zone, and Siberia and Russia would be part of Antarctica. If the tilting were at 90 degrees, the ice and snow in Antarctica would all be melted, and the Earth would be a complete ocean, with no single stretch of land. Can the Earth tilt at 24 degrees or 23 degrees? Absolutely not. If the Earth tilted at 24 degrees, all coastal cities would be submerged by water. If the Earth tilted at 23 degrees, the Earth would suffer from severe water shortage, and many rivers would disappear. Just imagine, would it work without the computation and design of a superwise being? Then, who is this superwise being? Neither you nor I, but the greatest creator. 6. The moon is the guarantee of life on Earth. 6. 月球是地球上生命的保证. First, let's look at some moon-related figures. The moon is 380,000 kilometers away from Earth, and its mass is approximately 1/81st of Earth's mass. The moon completes a circle around Earth every 25 hours. It takes 27.3 days for the moon to go along its orbit as well as auto-rotation for one circle. The time interval between the first full moon and the next is 29.5 days. It tilts at 5 degrees in relation to the ecliptic, and its orbit is oval. The moon moves westward. These figures are crucial for life on Earth, and even the slightest changes could result in catastrophe. Some people have whimsically thought of blasting the moon. Others object to the idea, arguing that the moon should not be blasted, because without the moon, man would lose some sentiment. However, the matter is not so simple. Without the moon's gravitational pull, there would be no seasonal changes, no ebb and flow in the oceans, and no wind, clouds, rain, snow, thunder, or lightning on Earth. Life would not exist. This simple truth doesn't need to be explained in detail, right? One might argue, if life on land disappears, does that mean life in the oceans would also cease to exist? The answer is yes, it would. Can life be born in a still ocean? Moreover, without the moon, we could not have inspiring moments like this. So bright a gleam on the foot of my bed. Could there have been frost already? Lifting my head to look, I found that it was moonlight. Sinking back again, I thought suddenly of home. Without the moon, life could not survive on Earth. Therefore, the moon is specially set up for the benefit of life on Earth, or we might say especially for humanity. Who has set up the moon? Our ancestors? Dinosaurs? Who but the greatest creator could have such power and capacity to hang the moon in the sky? 7. The distance between the moon and the Earth allows for no deviation. 7. 地球至月球的距离是丝毫都不能有偏差的. The distance between the Earth and the moon is 384,400 kilometers. If the distance were shorter, the Earth would be ravaged by raging gusts and torrential rains. If the distance were farther, there would be only gentle breezes, occasional drizzles on Earth, and there would no longer be great storms, typhoons, thunder, and lightning. In other words, life on Earth would suffer from bad weather and harsh environments. Just imagine what would happen if a jet plane skimmed just 1 meter above our heads. Not to mention the impact of the infrasonic and shock waves generated by the fast-flying plane. Even the whirls of air currents brought about by the flight would carry us off our feet. The tiles on the roofs would certainly be blown away, and a course of water gully and water wall would be formed when the plane skimmed over the water. Suppose the volume of the plane was equivalent to 3 football fields. What would happen if it flew past the surface of the Earth? The consequences would be catastrophic. In the area it passed by, there would be scenes of general turmoil and mess, with animals scampering for their lives, people and horses thrown off their feet, walls tumbling down, wind roaring, and waves billowing. The ships on the sea would be wrecked, and the coastal areas would be frequently pestered by sudden storms. If this situation were to occur every 25 hours, the survival of life on Earth would be unimaginable. What would happen if this plane were the moon? Not to mention the effects of other harsh elements on life. One flight of such a plane would bring 1/3 of the ocean's water to the land. If it flew around the globe once, the resulting hurricane would cause downpours to descend from the sky, and all the continents would be transformed into an ocean. Could life survive such a scenario? Therefore, the distance between the Earth and the Moon cannot allow the slightest deviation. Then who designed such an appropriate distance? Undoubtedly, the design was made with accurate calculation by a superior being more intelligent than human beings. 8. Great storms, typhoons, and thunder and lightning are deliberately choreographed. 8. 大风大浪、台风和雷鸣闪电是有意编排的。The occurrence of great storms, typhoons, thunder, and lightning is due to the existence of the moon. Without gales, the convection of hot and cold air on Earth would be impossible. Chilly and sweltering weather would continue for longer periods. Clouds over the ocean would not drift towards land, and there would be no rain or snow. Without billows, there would be no gales. Without typhoons, vapor over the ocean could not be carried to the plains and plateaus. Without thunder and lightning, the missing ozone layer would not be replenished in a timely manner. As a result, ultraviolet radiation and other cosmic rays would shine directly on humans, causing everyone to suffer from skin cancer. Without thunder and lightning, the air could not be cleaned, and countless viral bacteria would multiply uncontrollably. Humans would no longer multiply, and the Earth today would show no evidence of human footprints. 9. The whole solar system has been set up especially for humans. 9. 整个太阳系是专为地球人类而设置的。We can see, as mentioned above, that the distances between the celestial bodies, the sizes of different celestial bodies, and their speeds of movement have all been accurately and meticulously designed and arranged in strict accordance with the scientific laws of the survival and development of matter. They definitely do not occur randomly or unintentionally. Some people may argue, the Sun and the Earth are extremely important to mankind, but the other celestial bodies in the solar system are just dispensable. Actually, this is not the case. Mercury, Venus, Mars, asteroid clusters, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are all set up to protect the Earth. They are additional bodies of the Earth and have been set up and arranged for man. A riddance of any heavenly bodies or a change to any factor will alter the orbit of the Earth, and humans will not survive on Earth. Life only exists on Earth in the entire solar system, and there is absolutely no life on other planets because they are appurtenances of the Earth. To discover the secrets of the universe, astronomers have created countless space telescopes to observe space all day and night. This is a tiring task. Actually, if only we are capable of calculating and thinking, we can calculate, starting from man's basic necessities for survival, the masses of the Earth, the Moon, and other celestial bodies, the distances between them, their orbits, and speed. Without looking up into the sky, we can know what is there beyond Pluto and whether Uranus has satellites. When we come to know that there are superior life spaces apart from human society, we can infer the size and structure of the entire universe. When we are aware of this, we will discover that there are no superfluous galaxies and celestial bodies in the universe, and each has its function and position. Suppose we are in a highly democratic and developed country, we can infer from the clean and tidy streets that the country has a highly efficient urban sanitation management organization. From the size of the city and its population, and the living standard and other factors, we can work out the number of dustmen in this city without counting them one by one from each street to lane. If the actual figure is one more than our calculation, it is also to account for the possibility of someone needing to be replaced temporarily due to unforeseen circumstances. 10. The Earth's skin, atmosphere. 10. 地球的皮肤大气层. The atmosphere occupies the space from sea level to 1,000 kilometers above. 99% of the atmosphere is concentrated within a space of 40 kilometers from the surface of the Earth and above. The atmosphere is divided into the troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, ionosphere, and exosphere, according to the different chemical components within various altitude ranges. The range about 18 kilometers above sea level belongs to the troposphere. 99% of the troposphere consists of vapor. The climatic changes and natural phenomena of thunder and lightning, wind and rain, drifting clouds, evening or morning glow, and rainbows all occur in the troposphere. The atmosphere consists of 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 1% of other gases, such as carbon dioxide, argon, and ozone. The aerosphere is the skin of the Earth without which the Earth would be as bleak and desolate as the Moon, Mars, and other celestial bodies. There would be no life on Earth. Then how did the Earth's skin come into being? Some may say the atmosphere occurs naturally. Then why is there no atmosphere on the Moon and Mars? The proportions of different gases in the atmosphere are just right. The increase or decrease of the proportions of any gases would be catastrophic to life on Earth. For example, oxygen accounts for only 21% of the atmosphere. The absence of oxygen will mean the instant death of humans and animals, and the reduced amount of oxygen will hinder the normal activities of humans and animals. It is impossible to carry out normal activities on the summit of Mount Everest in the Himalayas because of the scarcity of oxygen. Spacecraft must be equipped with adequate oxygen for astronauts to carry out normal explorative activities. If oxygen in the atmosphere accounts for more than 21%, people and animals in low-latitude regions may suffer poisoning, and inflammables in nature will be liable to spontaneous combustion. An iota of spark may trigger many things ablaze. Apart from moisture, sunlight, and carbon dioxide, plants also need a large amount of nitrogen oxide for their growth. If the content of nitrogen is less than 78%, no matter how often or on what scales thunder and lightning may occur, there won't be enough nitrogen oxide created for the absorption of plants on the surface of the Earth. The amount of carbon dioxide accounts for less than 1% of the atmosphere. The small amount of carbon dioxide is the core factor of the greenhouse effect, which maintains the global temperature between -21 degrees and 14 degrees Celsius. Without carbon dioxide, the ocean will freeze up and the plants will die out. However, with too much carbon dioxide, humans and animals may die of poisoning, and the temperature of the Earth may rise dramatically. We may ask, how did the atmosphere and the accurate proportions within the atmosphere come about? We cannot always attribute inexplicable phenomena to naturally formed as a matter of course, can we? Without the careful attention of parents, can a person grow up naturally after he was born? Is the electrical lighting we use generated naturally? Does a plane, weighing dozens of tons, fly naturally in the sky? Can we naturally reap a bumper harvest by simply throwing some seeds on the ground without hoeing the weeds, fertilization, and watering? In the universe, there is absolutely nothing that happens naturally or spontaneously. Everything is managed by a person or intelligence. In light of this, is there anyone who still doubts it? 11. The guardian of life, the ozone layer. 11.